Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, would you please stand for the platform party?
Good morning and welcome to the Edinburgh Academy Junior School Exhibition 2021. Please be seated. We are delighted to be able to start our service this morning by listening to the talented musicians who make up the Primary 6 Baroque Strings Group.
Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a warm welcome from me to today's junior school exhibition. It is so nice to be doing this speech in front of real people. This time last year, I was looking into a screen and it came out on a screen. Now, we're still doing that, and a warm welcome to those who are watching this but not quite with us. But it just wasn't the same as having children live in school, and that's been one of the major bonuses this year. It was so nice as well to hear from the Baroque group there. Just great to hear live music again. Unfortunately, I was kind of hoping it might be Yes Sir I Can Boogie today, but that wasn't to be anymore either. I started the year by likening the school at my first streamed assembly to a tortilla. What's a tortilla? Remind me. Isla, what's a tortilla? Spanish omelette. Actually, that would be nice. I quite fancy a Spanish omelette. No, it's the bit of bread that you get in Mexican. You know, when we have the Mexican days up there and we have the tortilla, it's the bread. And I spoke about the fact that school is a bit like a tortilla. It's got a base, a fundamental base. But there are lots and lots of different fillings depending on what your preference is if you're eating Mexican food. So a steady state, but one that can be adapted and enhanced. This hasn't changed. But with all this in mind, the fact that we're currently in a big tent stands as a reminder that this has been another very strange year. It's been a year that's had some hard things, probably the hardest, in my opinion, on a school level, being when we had to ask the whole of primary one to isolate as a result of a positive COVID test. But the word that I hope sums us up, in my opinion, is authenticity. And all that I've tried to do, and I would extend this to the rector, the senior leadership team, and the other members of staff in the junior school, we have done everything that we can to keep the academy family safe. And not every decision taken in this country, and definitely not several of those taken south of the border, seem to me to have a consistency involved. I watched the fan zone in Glasgow as an example, but we have tried to be consistent. I do know that has been frustrating for some, but I hope it's recognised that we've tried always to act for the greater good. In my own case, my favourite time of every week is my teaching of music in the nursery. The thought that tiny lungs singing could be a major COVID risk is, I think, laughable, but it's not been a risk worth taking when the guidelines and the scientists were saying no. Likewise, in the first week in December, I was absolutely certain that I was not COVID positive, but the fact that I'd helped to put up a gazebo over there for our induction day for new pupils on a Saturday morning meant that I actually had to have an enforced isolation period. To add insult to injury, the isolation period changed from 14 days to 10 days on my 13th day in isolation. I was so relieved to return to school, and when we closed the doors for Christmas, I said goodbye to Mrs. Tetkin, fully expecting to be wishing her a socially distanced Happy New Year on the 6th of January. By Boxing Day, as we all know, we were back in full lockdown, and I wished Mrs. Tetkin well from my temporary base in the office in the nursery while she was at home in Collington, back to online remote learning. Certainly not how I expected to finish my first decade here as head teacher at the Edinburgh Academy Junior School and Nursery. It's actually 10 years since I made my first exhibition speech, because I moved over here at Easter from my first headship in Helensburgh. In the school of 2011, thinking about your age, you weren't here. Some of you hadn't even been born, but it was a very different school in many ways. It was actually a different colour, because it was only 3 years later that we actually got round to painting all the buildings the same colour. IT, big part of the school now, was taught on a weekly basis in the IT room. So the music room, as you go up the stairs on the right-hand side, that was an IT lab. That's where the school computers were kept. And Primary 6 used to do a film project just before Christmas, which led to the EFTERS ceremony. That took priority, so it meant that every other class from Primary 5 down lost their time in the IT lab for the best part of a month. They just didn't have IT. Now, we have digital learning, as you know, at the heart of everything we do, when it's the right means to learn. Now, I don't apologise for being proud of that. We are sector leading in IT. But if lockdown has taught us one thing, it's that the question of what the role is for in-person teaching in a physical environment when all of the children have one-to-one devices is an easy one to answer. As I wrote in the news sheet in December, I'm now more convinced than ever that long-term solitary learning is hugely damaging to children in terms of educating them to be part of a properly functioning society. I'm increasingly worried that children are living virtual lives with the need to build up large numbers of virtual friends for gratification. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm suggesting we've done the wrong thing in pushing forward and making ourselves one of the leading schools in Britain in terms of modern technology. Quite the opposite. It's crucial that we are educating our children for the world that they actually inhabit and for ensuring that they're making full use of these mind-blowing learning tools whilst being fully abridged of the risks and the pitfalls. Artificial intelligence is all very well. It's wonderful. But the ability to think critically and to adapt is more important in the workforce now than it ever has been, and that will continue to be the case. The social side of school life, the human-to-human interactions are absolutely crucial and should never be underestimated. Now, during the last decade, we've built a highly modern learning facility in the McTavish Wing, a sector-leading climbing wall, an all-weather play facility in the nursery, meaning that we can have truly indoor and outdoor curricula, 2 outdoor classrooms, and a modern curriculum designed to get the best out of the children whilst also making sure that the basics of the 3 Rs are not lost. Our academic results, gained in Highers and Advanced Highers, are now a match for any in Scotland. The junior school and the nursery have been full for several years, and in recent years, this has also now become the case in the senior school as well, with waiting lists in most parts of the school. We're a 21st century school, educating 21st century children. But the opening paragraph of my first speech here, I think, is as accurate now as it was a decade ago. Mrs. Bashford was my predecessor. In 2011, I stood in the hall and said that families and strong family structures are essential to the giving of emotional security to our children. And that's why, whilst Mrs. Bashford often used the analogy of team in discussing her school, I prefer to think about this as the academy family, glorying in each other's success, but creating a supportive platform in which people feel that they can take risks, can try new things, and can fail, as we all do from time to time, in a loving, compassionate atmosphere that bandages the skinned knee and soothes the bruised ego. As I say, I think that's as accurate now as it was in 2011, and I suspect in 1921, 100 years ago, a year where there were more new teachers in the school than at any other time in the school's history, as university courses halted by the appalling war were completed. The rector at the time said all young men straight from university who fought for their country during the late war. They had come out of university and were replacing retired teachers who had come back during the war. Now, this year has been one where, as a whole family, as a school, we've struggled to get together. Do they still, you can tell me, children, do they still make Hubba Bubba? Anyone know what Hubba Bubba is? What's Hubba Bubba?
It's like gum.
What kind of gum?
It's like
What can you do with Hubba Bubba?
blow big bubbles.
You can blow big bubbles, right. I can tell you, I would challenge you to ever be able to blow as big bubbles as I could when I was your age. They were massive, absolutely massive. Little did I know that 40-ish years on, we would all be talking about being in bubbles. And rather than being sheepish, because I used to sometimes they would break and you get this pink gloop all over your face, nowadays I'm sanitizing my hands every 20 minutes as part of this bubble. But I speak about the family, and I have to say, I was asked for a quote yesterday about the primary 6K Olympic torch relay that's happening next week. And I was able to say that through two ways, because I'm still the president of Triathlon Scotland, one of the national governing bodies in Scotland, and of course the head here. And I have to say, I could not be prouder of the way that the school family have pulled round in this really troubling time. I'm delighted to be able to support next week, and I'm sure it will go exceptionally well. So thank you to all of you who are involved in that. So what have the highlights of the year been? Well, the fact that you were able to take part in some sport was really pleasing. I'm a keen rugby fan. I've always enjoyed touch rugby, and I must say, the lack of contact would have annoyed me pretty quickly. I was one of these rugby players who liked to get stuck in and batter through people. Touch rugby wasn't always my favourite, but the fact that lots of you turned up every week to take part in that touch rugby says a lot for you. And thank you to Mr. Enos and his team for their enthusiasm and making sure that kept going. The enthusiasm that was shown in turning up to take part is a real testament to you. So thank you. And obviously our hockey players, not to miss them out, boys and girls. I know that our boys hockey, I think I'm right in saying, had 5 matches. They weren't scored, but mainly against Heriots and Stuarts Melville, but I know there was some fantastic play on show. Our girls teams, the 2 teams played 10 matches between them, winning 5, losing 4 and drawing 1. And of course, it's been great to have some cricket. I really enjoyed watching one of the matches, a bit of one of the matches in the Mendel Trophy, where we were invited to play against the primary 7 teams from Watsons, from Stuarts Melville, and from our own Gites. And I know that we lost out only to our own Gites, having won convincingly against Stewmel and Watsons by 3 runs. A tremendous attempt. The A side overall this year won 8 out of 10 matches, with the Bees winning 4 of their 7 matches and tying 1. And I know that our footballers played on Saturday and convincingly won against South Morningside at both primary 5 and primary 6 level. Well done. Over this year, we've also witnessed some really impressive individual feats. Anna Johnson, along with Isla Graham, made a super start on the Wildlife Garden project that they raised so much money for last year through selling of hot chocolate. And I know that they're going to continue to show a keen designing interest going forward up there. But Anna also showed her athletic prowess, competing over 100 kilometres by foot in only 6 days during the October half term. Fantastic. And it seems like only yesterday, but it was a few years ago, that I was talking about Jack Dunn's amazing hole-in-one when he was only, how old were you, Jack, when you got that hole-in-one? Where is Jack? 6. I thought you were 6. This year, he won the Shishkin Junior Golf Tournament in a wonderful course in Arran with a net score of 32. An achievement in its own. But what's really important to me is that while Jack excels at golf, I know that, and many other sports, I've never known him to boast. And indeed, in reading over my notes, I keep notes about all of the children. Don't worry. I note a boy who has represented the school in a vast number of sports, but he is a splendid role model in terms of sportsmanship, inclusivity, shows an excellent attitude towards his schoolwork, and shows care for his peers and younger pupils alike. He's unfailingly polite and is a very worthy winner today of the Special Achievement Award. The recent sports days were run without parents. That was a shame, but I can tell you they were really keenly contested. The fact that the whole games stopped to watch Oscar Welsh obliterate, not just beat, but obliterate the school high jump record, told a huge amount about the family togetherness again at the school. And I was really impressed by May Moonan's winning of the talent show. Big congratulations to May for that, another highlight of the year. That earned good points for Dundas. Now, Mrs. Tetkin will have the pleasure of announcing the winners of the division competition later. But I can tell you that it came down to the last event, which was actually the counting of the Leaves of Achievement in Denham Green. It was that close. Other highlights. P6 Week of Wonder. Thank you, Mrs. Tetkin, for all your organising of that. The Jacobite Week in Primary 5. All of Primary 5 and 6 coming out on bikes and passing bike ability. It didn't rain for the whole week. It was great. The way that the Primary 4 group gelled within half a day at Broomlea was quite something. I really enjoyed hearing and seeing part of the Primary 3 Viking Day. And I saw, in driving them up and down in the minibus, the pleasure that our Primary 2s took as they came up and down from the beach. Our highly experienced Primary 1 team made sure that every day was an experience for the youngest children in the junior school. And we also recognised all of the achievements and different things in the nursery at the nursery graduation yesterday. Actually felt a bit like normality to be able to take a much smaller team than normal to the Belhaven cross country. 3 months later than usually would be the case, but great that we were able to do that anyway. Timelessly, this year, our Erasmus project has focused on well-being. And it's been a pleasure to meet online with partner schools in Spain, Holland and Estonia. Thank you to Mrs. Petrie and her team for coordinating that. Now, one regret, and it is a genuine regret, is that in 2011 I was able to talk about the fruitful nursery partnership that we have with the City of Edinburgh. We managed to fight back in 2015 to stay in that partnership, but unfortunately the national legislation has stopped us being able to charge any form of top-up fee from August. So this has meant that we've had to pull out of that partnership. A lose-lose situation for both stakeholders, in my opinion. And so, while we're still unsure about how things will change in the short term, we look towards next session. Last year, I spoke about the move back to normality. So we're not projecting too far ahead, but there are some really exciting things happening. I would hope by this time next year, A, to be in the hall, but B, to have a new golf centre, which you as guides, I'm sure will get a chance to use as well, just behind the sports hall. This year, we've been looking carefully at how we reflect diversity and inclusion in the curriculum, and that will continue to be the case. I spent last Saturday on a call with the head of CAMS, the Child and Mental Health Services, actually in the northeast of Scotland, and she was telling me that the years they are most worried about are middle secondary and primary 6 and 7 aged children. Not because of the academic work that they've supposedly missed, but because of the social isolation that's come from the lockdowns. Not being able to make the mistakes and learning from each other in the way that children naturally would. So I hope, boys and girls, I said this to you the other day, that you will take time over the summer to spend time together. My aforementioned message from 2011 comes back to mind about the academy family. We'll continue to invest heavily in play throughout the junior school and also in the outdoors. And the new iPad leasing scheme is a winner for parents, in my opinion, and I am one. A recent music survey is informing our attempts to enhance music provision coming out of the pandemic. And in Mrs. Penman and Mr. Fleischfleischer, I believe we have the best junior school music department in the country, including all of the peripatetic staff as well. Mrs. Tecker and Mrs. Hancock's will be in touch because they're currently working really hard on all of our behalves in seeking to reframe the visions and values of the school 10 years after the last review. I know that they're looking to work with stakeholders in all areas of school life. I mentioned Mrs. Tecker, and I'd like to take this time to make a brief but heartfelt thanks to several people. Firstly, to Mrs. Morag McNeill and the Court of Directors. I'm delighted that Mrs. McNeill's been able to come along to present the prizes today. And I do actually feel for her. It's been a tricky couple of years in which to take on the chair of the court. Little did we know 2 years ago what these 2 years were going to be like. But in all of my dealings with her, Mrs. McNeill has been supportive and questioning in equal measure to make sure that the direction of the school is a positive one. She's a real asset to us. And as I say, I'm delighted she's come along to present the prizes today. I'd also had absentia due to the COVID bubbles, knowing that he would love to be with us. I'd like to thank the rector for his stewardship of the academy. I'm hoping he's watching. I'm sure he will be. And the bursar for the excellent work that he and his team do in making sure that the school is on a sound financial footing. Mrs. Tetkin is a superb deputy. We're lucky to have her. I would pay tribute to her, and I'm not going to name them all because I could go right through, but the rest of the leadership team, including Mrs. Maguire, who keeps me on the straight and narrow, as well as managing our administrative team. To all of this very special staff team here at the Edinburgh Academy, including all of my colleagues there, I'd ask you to join me in saying a collective thanks. I recently took a look, and I believe that 58% of the staff have come to the school since I started in 2011. I would give special mention today to two who are about to finish their first decade at the school, Mrs. Appleson and Mrs. Tetkin, and her previous guys as a part-time primary 5 teacher, and also to Mrs. Sutherland from our nursery, who completed her 20th year at the school during the lockdown last summer, and to Mrs. Boyd, Mrs. Harris, and Mrs. Emerson, who also completed their 10th years in the school last summer. We were obviously in lockdown at that point. Of course, as ever, we've had some goodbyes to say. We're saying goodbye to you, boys and girls, this year, but we said goodbye to some through the year, members of staff, and we're also saying goodbye today. The first man we said goodbye to was in October, after an amazing 37 years, as first the school joiner, then a junior school janitor. Mr. Ronnie Paxton is now enjoying a very well-earned retirement in Kelso. Mrs. Sally Hood also had a long association with the school, over 30 years as parent, reading helper, volunteer, and latterly librarian. We had hoped to have both of them back today, but you can understand why not. But Sally, I'm told, is enjoying herself in spite of the remaining COVID restrictions and enjoying, again, a well-earned retirement. And there are those who are leaving us today. Well, one actually left on Monday, because on Monday we said goodbye to Mrs. Janet Rust, who gave sterling service in our after-school club for many more years than most of us have been here. Well, I know that she's currently enjoying a well-earned holiday in the Isle of Bernery, but Mrs. Teckin and I joined our colleagues in the after-school club to mark her leaving on Monday afternoon. And so to those who are here, Miss Laura Johnson is heading off to Murray House with all of our good wishes. She has been a phenomenal intern, and I have absolutely no doubt that she has made the correct decision to move out of her job in the financial sector and into teaching. She is a real natural and will be a brilliant primary school teacher. She'll be sorely missed. Mrs. Teckin, could you make a presentation to Miss Johnson, please? And today of all days, I don't like to use the word infectious, but I'm going to in a nice way here, because Miss Tara O'Regan brings an infectious enthusiasm to the whole of the staff team and indeed to the junior school. It's rubbed off on colleagues and children in equal measure. She's moving home to the Irish Republic with her partner, and I'm sure that she will go with memories as fond of us as ours will be of her. Miss Jane O'Rourke joined us as a music teacher, and then when Mrs. Patterson retired, was successful in applying for the vacant head of upper primary, with Mrs. Petrie moving over into Denham Green. Her attention to detail and genuine care for the children and staff in her department have become very quickly the stuff of legend. I will always think of her when I think about things like restorative practice and coaching. Miss O'Rourke is moving up to Aberdeenshire over the summer, but I know that she's very keen to hear how you're all getting on, boys and girls, and she will certainly be keeping in touch. Thank you, Miss O'Rourke. And finally, for this section, Mrs. Paula Howden-Thompson is very, very keen to stress that she is not old enough to be retiring. And shy in retiring is certainly not something that's ever been said about Mrs. Howden-Thompson. As I said at the nursery graduation yesterday, my first memory of her was of her belting out a particular karaoke number. My memory was it was Big Spender, but she tells me it was actually Poker Face. But I quickly realised that she was a very gifted educator with a superb theoretical knowledge. For this reason, when Mrs. Patterson retired as departmental head of nursery, it was an easy decision to bring Paula back over to the nursery in the promoted post that she has made very much her own. The COVID disruption has been very well managed by her, and she leaves a very cohesive and effective nursery based on strong foundations and true love, a really strong legacy to leave. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. After the summer, we look forward to welcoming two new colleagues who are relocating from London, Miss Emma Thompson as head of upper primary and Miss Mary Campbell as P4 teacher. We are also going to be welcoming Mrs. Emily Gracie, who will be teaching in primary 3, bringing a wealth of experience and some super fresh ideas. Mrs. Kirstine Laston will step into Mrs. Howden-Thompson's shoes in the nursery, and Ms. Evie Peace has already proved to be an excellent addition to the staff as junior school librarian. Mrs. Tepke and I were discussing it yesterday, and having said that there will be a probationary year, I can tell you that I will be writing to her now to say I don't need a year to decide if she's going to be a fantastic librarian. She is, and will be remaining with us. And finally, to you boys and girls, our primary 6 year. At the end of this ceremony, you will receive your yearbooks. But to a large extent, they are not just a reflection on this year. I'd like to read to you the collective message that you will all find from me in your individual copies. What I've said to you is this. It was in Easter of 2011 that I first set foot at the Edinburgh Academy as head teacher. And I'm aware that this means that most of you were babies when I was already here. If you'd come to the school when you would have seen a very different place. Not only would you have seen no iPads in the McTavish wing, you wouldn't actually have seen the McTavish wing. P6 in those days were housed in porter cabins, in the Denham Green playground, and the library was in what you now know as the changing rooms. Lots has changed in the intervening years, but I very much hope that much has stayed the same in terms of the school's mission to educate fine young people who represent themselves well and who care about and look out for each other, as well as wider society. This final year in the junior school has not been one we would have envisaged in August, but nonetheless, you have adapted to the COVID situation admirably as the leaders of this school. And my colleagues and I are proud to have played our part in your education. I, and I know all my colleagues do as well, wish you well as you head over to Henderson Row, and I know that I will be hearing great things about you from the rector. And to finish, I'd like to read once again the poem that I read to you on Monday. I've spoken a lot again today about the Academy family and the important part that you all play in it. But remember also the word that I used earlier in the speech in describing some of the hard decisions that I and others have had to make this year. Authenticity. It's really important to me that I can look each of you in the eye and know that I can trust you. And that's a great thing to have in life. But what's more important, and will be throughout your life, is that you can look at yourself in the glass, in the mirror, and can say the same thing. So before passing over to our primary 6 singers for the song The Power of Music, and boy is it powerful, I'll finish with that short poem, The Man in the Glass. When you get what you want and you struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. Remember, girls, I said it could easily be girls. But it isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And you've passed your most difficult, dangerous test if the man in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back if you pass. But your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass. Floreat Academia.
Where to turn? Hopes and dreams are fading and your bridges start to burn. Just remember when you look, a friend is always near. So let your voice sing out again so everyone can hear. The music, the spirit in the song. When our voices join together, we are fearless, we are one. And we feel there's a power in the music and a spirit in the soul. Sometimes and at other times you shine. Lose your sense of purpose and your your will to stay and try. Then I see you smiling as the music starts to play. You hear the beat resounding and it blows the clouds away. There's a power, there's a power, there's a spirit. When all voices join together, we are one. And we feel sense of freedom carries us along. There's a power in the music and the spirit in my song. Stand together as we sing as one. We can change the world with our songs. Spread the message, we are strong and free. We are sister, we are brother, we are one big. Now your heart is beating to the rhythm of that drum. Nothing is impossible, a hero you can come. Singing lifts the spirit, heals the heart and feeds the soul. Singing makes us stronger, we can reach for any goal. There's a power in music, there's a spirit in spirit. When our voices join together, we are fearless, we are one. And we feel the sense of freedom as it carries us along. There's a power in the music and the spirit in my soul. There's a power in the music, there's a spirit in spirit. When our voices join together, we are fearless, we are one. And we feel the sense of freedom as it carries us along. There's a power in the music and the spirit in my soul. In my soul. In my soul.
It now gives me great pleasure to invite Mrs. Morag McNeill, Chair of the Court, to present awards to the Edinburgh Academy Junior School Prize winners for the academic session 2020-2021. Could the first group of prize winners please make their way to the stage? Prizes in physical education. Rory Blair. And Tilly Yeomans. The Connor Cup for overall excellence in PE and games, Sadie Shaw. The MacLeod Trophy for overall excellence in PE and games, Oscar Welsh. The Durban Shield for project work in Primary 6, Lily Murray. Prizes in science, Abigail Orr. And the special award in science, Ailish Ogg. Prizes in music, Flora Santry. And the Scott Cup for the best junior school instrumentalist, Sandy Riley. Prizes in art, Ella Wingate. And the Hope Art Cup, Matilda Graham. Prizes in literacy, from Primary 6B, Matthew White. From 6F, Felix Bertram. And 6K, Ludo Clark. Prize in creative writing, Charlie Lamb. Prizes in modern foreign languages, Rachel Kelly. And Joshua Taylor. Prizes in maths, Ewan Twadzel. Sonia Wise. Joshua Taylor. And Sky Hare. Class prizes from P6B, Emma Strudwick. P6F, Pranav Jesuaru. And from P6K, Eliza Hartley. Prizes in endeavour and service. The Fair Play Award, Beth Garrett. The Special Achievement Award, Jack Dunn. The Elizabeth Watt Quaich, Ella Watts Henderson. The Crone Cup, Isla Graham. The Oppenheim Cup, Oscar Welsh. And this year, the Hunt Trophy for all-round effort and achievement is shared between Rachel Kelly and Max McPherson. At this point, I have the great pleasure and honour of announcing the winners of the Division Trophy. And as Mr. Caldy said, it was a tie. And that's only happened once in recent history. But this year, our winners are Kinross and Carmichael. And I would like Charlotte Bent and Will Mitchell, please, to come and receive the trophy on behalf of their divisions. We take a pause from presenting prizes at this point to hear from the whole primary 6 year group, who will be singing for us Mr. Blue Sky. Thank you, Primary 6. At this point, I would like to invite our Primary 6 teachers to say a little bit about their classes before Mr. Calder presents the children with their yearbooks. Could 6B please line up first?
P6B, where do we start? From the very beginning of the year, when you had to come in without having even met us, and without having been in school for several months, you have risen to every challenge and tackled every new opportunity with enthusiasm and energy. It has yet again been a different year, but when you look back, I hope you will only remember the good bits. The week of wonder and your joy at melting your marshmallows with a fire you built and lit yourself, and the lovely semicircle of pyjamas, slippers and friendship as you watched the film to celebrate the end of the week. In class, you have worked your way through our grammar lessons with good humour, and although I didn't really hypnotise you, despite what you thought, you quickly bought into the idea that the lessons were not that tortuous and even quite fun. A key theme for everyone this year has been thinking about kindness, and you have regularly demonstrated this quality with your willingness to include each other when playing downfall or capla, or when helping each other make those endless paracords. You have also shown creativity and ingenuity, be it when making films for your pen pals or building the rainforest layers in shoeboxes. More recently, we had our wonderful day at Dalgais, and although I was only with some of you for the activities, I know the encouragement and help I saw you giving each other was replicated in the other groups. My heart was in my mouth watching you climb that Jacob's ladder, but at the same time, it was so wonderful observing your determination to conquer any fears you had and to do your very best. Rarely quiet, always inquisitive, you have made me laugh a lot when sometimes I really shouldn't have. You have the attributes that ensure you are fun to be with and certainly never dull. I'm sure the places you'll go will be exciting and enriching, and we will follow the next steps of your journey with interest.
Well, I would just like to echo what Mrs. Boyd had said. Although looking back over the year, Mrs. Boyd has had more than her fair share of fun activities with you all. The Dalgais trip, bikeability, team building day, all happened to fall on the day that Mrs. Boyd was in class. Some lovely memories I do have of you though was during Week of Wonder when the tent pitching without instructions activity fell on a Monday. And I was incredibly proud of your resilience, your perseverance with this challenging task and how you worked together in your teams to reach your goal. Now, teaching you at the beginning of the week also meant that we got to do all the outdoor learning activities together with Mr. Tyrrell. And your creativity shone through when you used foliage from the nature garden to make some very professional looking Christmas decorations. You used your measuring skills to plant potatoes in the allotment. But I think your most favourite lesson was when you used your knowledge of circles to strategically place sprinklers around the grounds to water the trees and the plants. Although I think some of you mostly enjoyed strategically placing yourselves so that you were showered by the sprinklers. So pleased it was a sunny day that day. Now, we always look forward to a Monday morning because you're always so keen to come in and share your news about your action-packed weekends, from sports fixtures to Pokemon games, wild swimming to dog walks. I never tired of hearing your news. Now, you're all unique and you each have your own special qualities to take you wherever you want to go. And I'd just like to leave you with a quote from one of my all-time heroes, Walt Disney. He said that all our dreams can come true if we only have the courage to pursue them. So as Mrs. Boyd and I wish you well on your next adventure, dream big, 6B. Rose Bent. Dougie Boyd. Rory Brown. Sophia Gallo. On Alfie Harriet Maitland. Ben Hodge. Annalise Hood. Rachel Kelly. Axel Kitchen. Max Mayer. Andrei Masharov. Lane.
Henrique Mezentsev Santos. May Moonen. Charlie Pearson. Alice Fanos. Thomas Ray. Finn Reeve. Sandy Riley. Emma Strudwick. Tristan Taylor. Olivia Teague. Ewan Twadzel. Matthew White.
Well, P6F, it's my turn to wish you well as you leave the junior school for Pastures New. In my 24 years of teaching, you were my very first primary 6 class, and that makes you truly unique. Throughout the year, you have brought enthusiasm, energy, and humour to our learning together. When things were challenging, particularly during the second lockdown, you rose to the occasion and developed resilience and stamina. The ping of Teams call notifications will always remind me of the jokes, games, and conversations we enjoyed online. Your appreciation of the novels we have read together will always stay with me. We could empathise with Alice Dent as she tried to escape the dreadful virus. You laughed and probably cried a bit with Bradley Chalkers and Augie as they negotiated the ups and downs of school life. My French accent was put to good use reading Rooftoppers during lockdown, and we have accompanied Col every step, minus one chapter, which you will get this afternoon, I promise, on Shobi, on his adventure with the Midnight Guardians. And who could forget Wow Word Wednesdays, when you demonstrated your lexical dexterity? You can tell me what those words mean later. Although you are all individuals with countless talents, you have a wonderful team spirit which has been in evidence throughout the year, constructing the layers of the rainforest, pitching tents, cooking on an open fire, producing paracord bracelets and more paracord bracelets, making videos for our Dutch pen pals and buddies, and not forgetting my highlight, doing the Lambeth Walk alongside your other friends in 6B and 6K. As I finish, I'd like to return to Augie in the novel Wonder. I'm sure you'll remember some of his precepts, and you made up some of your own, one of which seems particularly apt for today. The reward for perseverance is achievement. Whether you're a prize winner or not, you have all achieved an extraordinary amount this year, and I'm so proud of you. You are more than ready for what comes next, and I wish each and every one of you all the success that you desire. Zara Akbar. Louis Arthur. Cormac Bell. Charlotte Bent. Felix Bertram. Alfie Cowie. Ben Derry. Beth Garrett. Isla Graham. Pranav Jessero. Anna Johnson. Charlie Lamb. Benjamin Mahoney Muir. Will Mitchell. Amy Mumford. Abigail Orr. Flora Santry. Sienna Sheridan. AJT. Robert Tyne. Ella Wingate. Sonia Wise. Tilly Ewart.
The brief I was given today was to talk about memories from this year with my class. So, what has been memorable this year? Well, I feel I need to start off by apologising publicly to our IT guru, Mr. Nicol, as there have been countless times this year when he's looked up from his very calm, very peaceful office to wonder what exactly has been going on in our classroom as an almighty roar has erupted, echoing down the stairs. Because one thing I discovered very quickly is that P6K do not appreciate a cliffhanger in a class novel. Sharing brilliant stories has been such a pleasure and an integral part to our class this year, in both seeing and hearing your reactions and sharing personal recommendations. You've worked hard, no doubt about it, both in class and online, with creativity and ingenuity. But it has been in the in-between moments that I have seen your characters and individuality emerge. Increasingly complex Kepler building projects, marble runs and domino courses, meeting the vast array of P6K dogs, rabbits, chicks, cats, and even more dogs in Teams calls. Passionately fought games of table tennis, lively debates after news round on everything from challenging current affairs topics to favourite snack and best footwear. P6K is a class of individuals with strongly held beliefs, values, and opinions. A class of individuals, yes, but a team. When a sporting injury meant indoor play for a while for one of our team, the question from the rest was not, do I have to stay in, but how often can I stay in to play and be with them? The start of the holiday marks the start of the epic P6K Olympic torch relay. A chance to raise money for Braidburn School, but also a chance to support our Rubik's Cube wizard of a teammate. At the start of this year, I promised that along the way I would no doubt make mistakes, and I did, one of which ended up in giving Harry a second birthday. But that ultimately, if we collectively put kindness first, everything else would slot into place. You have done that in so many ways, P6K, and that is what I will remember the most. Rory Blair. Alexander Buchan. Lachlan Campbell. Sarah Campbell. Ludo Clark. Maya Curry. Jack Dunn. Matilda Graham. Sky Hare. Eliza Hartley. Max McPherson. Rocco Mills.
Ella Murray. Lily Murray. Ailish Og. Oliver Pidcock. Reese Ramsey. Callum Ritchie. Sadie Shaw. In absentia, Daniel Tambaraja. Joshua Taylor. Ella Watts Henderson. Harry Weir. Oscar Welsh.
Our penultimate award of the morning is the Caroline Bashford Scholarship Medal, which this year goes to Ewan Twadzel. And so the final presentation of the morning is to our ducks of the junior school. And I thought I might say a few words about him before asking Mrs. McNeill to present his trophy and medal. Ewan Twadzel joined the Edinburgh Academy Junior School in Primary 3, having moved to Edinburgh from Cairo, Egypt. It was clear to see from the outset that this was a young boy with lots of potential to do well academically and also in many other areas of school life. And so with quiet determination, good humour, and a mature and considerate approach to everything he does, Ewan has very much grown into a role model. Yes, his academic achievements are notable, and he tells me he has particularly enjoyed maths, science, and social subjects this year. But he is also rightly proud of representing the school in both cricket and rugby. Quite the sportsman, Ewan also plays cricket, squash, and tennis for the Grange Club, and somehow in between all his sport, manages to play the drum kit and piano, recently achieving grade 3 distinction in his piano exam. Whilst all these commitments and achievements are commendable, what impresses me most about Ewan is his humility, sensitivity, and the friendship he shows to others. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, would you please be upstanding? I present to you the Ducks of the Junior School 2021, Ewan Twadzel. Boys and girls, you are going to remain standing whilst I ask the parents to be seated. Whilst sadly COVID restrictions mean that we can't all join in the school song, I am going to ask the children to close this morning's service by singing our school song, Floreat Academia.
Three cheers for the staff. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Three cheers for the school. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Three cheers for the holidays. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray!
There were